Today we're going to talk about summarizing, paraphrasing, and quoting from your research articles that are going to be used in your problem solution paper. So these are terms that most of us are familiar with, but sometimes summarizing and paraphrasing tend to mix and match, and we get a little bit confused on how do we properly do it. And also with quoting, how are we citing this properly to give our paper credit, to give our strong opinions evidence, to prove them to be accurate and not to be plagiarizing. A summary is going to be a condensed version of the author's main ideas written in your own words. It gives a broad overview of the source without including all the details. So it's something that you'd use if you wanted to give your readers a quick overview of an article, a study, or an argument, when you want to highlight the main point and not the details of it. Summarizing should be short and objective. It should have none of your own opinions, and it should be in your own words, not pulling out what the author said. Instead, you are using your words to summarize or retell the author's main points. So the original text might look like, nurses play a critical role in patient education, often serving as the primary source of health information for patients in both hospital and outpatient settings. If you wanted to take that information and put it into your paper, you might simply say, Smith and Jones emphasize that nurses are essential in educating patients across healthcare settings. Or, nurses play a vital role in healthcare settings in both hospitals and clinics, and you're putting Smith and Jones in the year at the end. Paraphrasing. A paraphrase is a restatement of a specific passage or idea from a source in your own words and sentence structure, and it should be about the same length as the original work. It's like taking something very technical and using language that's easier for your readers to understand. You use it when you want to rephrase a specific idea or detail, and when the idea is important but the exact words are not. Again, sometimes you might have that technical language that the general population is not going to understand. So you want to present it in language that is more common. In a paraphrase, you're using your own sentence structure, your own vocabulary. You're not just taking a few words out and changing them. You do need to always make sure that you use a citation for it. So an example might say, original text, the study found that telemedicine appointments increased access for rural patients who previously faced barriers due to travel and cost. Now, to paraphrase that, it might sound better saying, according to Lee, rural patients were able to receive more healthcare services through telemedicine because it reduced common obstacles such as travel, distance, and expense. Now, quoting is probably the most common form of using citations in papers. A quote is using the exact words, and you make sure that you are quoting it or putting quotation marks. In APA, you also include the author, year, and page number if there is one. You use it when the original wording is especially powerful or important, when you want to analyze or comment on the exact language. You do want to keep your quotes short and relevant. Always introduce the quote with your own words and use a signal phrase like according to or Smith writes. Here's an example of pulling out a quote properly. As you can see, both the original text and the example state, digital learning platforms have transformed how students interact with course materials, offering more flexibility and access to resources than traditional classrooms. You can see how this example uses the author and the year, and then it uses the signal word explains. There's always a comma after it before the quote, and you put in your quote, and then at the end you can put in page 105.